magnificent bastard, I read your book!
Two back-to-back Bills podcasts for Curtis and East per head. Now, you might say, what's happening? You going to the other side, Curtis? No. I was covering the Bills all season and had a little lapse. Had a nice brother comment. He's like, if I don't hear from you till after the holidays in a couple of weeks, have a good holiday. And I felt bad about that. And he was such a nice guy, and he's such a good commenter, that I said, I'm going to get another one in there and be a little bit more regular with my Bills coverage. Also, this Cleveland game against the Bills is so epic. Our Dolphins, my Dolphins, I don't know if they're yours, you're probably a Bills fan, but my Dolphins are on a bye, and you got Patriots facing the Jets. And then you got this critical game of the Bills going against the Browns on the road now due to that heavy snow. And for all those people up there, I talked to my man in Rochester. He said it's not too bad, but if you get closer to the water, it's a wild, wild situation. So all you Bills fans out there in that wild situation, I hope you are safe. But I want to continue to develop my last podcast on how the media is crushing Josh Allen wrongly. Really, he has some fault. He's a man. He's playing a game. He makes decisions. He makes plays. But this staff and leadership is by far more responsible. I really fleshed it out, I believe, pretty well last time. And now going into this critical Browns game, I want to lay this all out so when this game comes and goes, and if it doesn't go, what I'm showing you here, then you can start pointing those fingers upwards past Allen just a little bit more. So I got 20 billion stats and analytics and information. And if you're a Dolphins fan, I'm going to use Tua as a compare and contrast on a lot of this stuff to show how valuable the framework is. The media will tell you this guy can do it. Doesn't matter if nobody else is around him. And it's all about him. It's all about him. If they're winning, it's all about him. If they're losing, it's all about him. And it's all baloney. NFL, we're told from the very beginning, is the ultimate team game, except when you want to have a viral video or talk show and make a big explosive point, then of course it isn't. But let's get into it now. Going to show Allen, Bills, and then the Browns statistically. And you ask yourself, what should the Bills do going into this week? Okay? Now, the big problem is they're not going to have a home field crowd. And that puts more adversity on this team in this critical moment. It's bad luck. But you know what? Winners take bad luck, a big pile of poop, and they shine it up into gold. This is an opportunity. Clearly more adversity, but a true opportunity to overcome and to grow through this. Will the Bills do it? I don't know. They could just do what they've always done and let Allen carry them and still win and all be good. But to me, if they don't fix these core things I've been talking about in this situation that is screaming to do what I've been talking about for 2 years, I believe ultimately there's going to be problems where they're not going to be able to overcome with Superman Allen, and these failures to adapt, to grow, and to understand what you need to do in different situations is going to bite you guys in the tail. So before I get into all that stuff and my 50 million stats and yada, 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 I just want to say thank you guys for stopping by, all you people. There's so many nice people on these comments. I'm telling you, it's a breath of fresh air most of the time. And even when there's some guys that come on and they give me grief, I kind of enjoy that too when they're respectful. I like the whole pie of discourse when it's cordial, thoughtful, and well-meaning, and I get like 95% of that. And Ace Bread that hired me, they said, dude, it's going to be a cesspool. No, it's not here. So thank you. I want to give a shout out to my sponsor, Ace Per Head, because without you guys and without them, this show ain't going down. Ace Per Head's betting software is the premier white label platform for bookies to manage their players and grow their sportsbook operation. Click the link in the description below to get set up in minutes. Ask for the Curtis promo and get a special introductory discount. All right, take a look at this little graphic here, this handy dandy graphic. And you'll see at the top of the chart, you'll see the NFL ranking. This is from PFF, and this is how Allen grades out. 93 quarterback rating in 20 plus, 111 in the middle, 103. You can see all these are extremely high, except when you get down to some of the shorts below zero. He's 83.9, 81.8. But they're so minimal, these flank throws. He's got, that you really don't want to pay much attention to. But overall, you could see he's throwing very well. And you can see that he's got 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 interceptions over 10 yards and 4 less than 10 yards. So the majority of his throws, where he's getting into trouble, is deep. I want you to hold on to that. But when you look down here, below that, you can see his 20-plus throws, his completion percentage is 46.8, and he throws tons of those. But he's still ranked 91 by PFF, which is the elite of the elite. So his completion percentage is a little bit lower. He's got 47 attempts, which is a ton. So that's going to affect his overall completion percentage, and that's what I'm trying to get to. And you can see his short 0-9, he gets weaker and weaker. So Allen does have a level of inaccuracy on the shorts, but the guy is a master of 20 plus, and he's really good at the 10 to 20. And I want you to hold on to this as I develop what's going on here with the season, compare it to Tua, and then contrast that with the Browns this week. All right, so we know it's a neutral site. It's going to be turf. Fast is going to be faster. No wind. No supporting crowd noise. It's going to, who knows what direction it's going to go. And actually, because it's Detroit, you might actually have some more Cleveland fans maybe. I don't know. It's a general northwest, northish. So I don't know. But it's going to be a passing environment. It's going to be faster as faster. But that's going to help the receivers of the Bills and also the corners and secondary of the Browns. Now, over completion percentage is the NFL does what they expect you to get and how well you do. For Allen having his 64% completion percentage was a little bit low, and you'll say, oh, look, he's not accurate. He's only minus 0.7% under completion expectation. Now, Rodgers, Brady, Wilson, they're all less than him in over completion expectations. Herbert, Stafford, just 0.1 more than him. So he's got some really good company, and you can't just wrap it around he's inaccurate. That doesn't fly, okay? There's a lot of things that go into that. I don't want to deal with that. Now, he's got 100 blitzes. He's the 8th most blitzed quarterback in the NFL currently. And if you remember, 2020, when he had his big season, he beat the blitz and had an epic season. Then he came back the next year, and they played zone on him and covered and didn't blitz him at all, and he had a really good season, but there was a little bit of struggles. Now they're back to the blitz, but things aren't going as successfully as they were in 2020. Now, his pressure rate is 14%, 31st least in the NFL. His bad throw percentage, it's good. It's 14.8, which is 21st least in the NFL. But his on-target percentage is down at the bottom. It's, I think, like 20th or something like that. So it's 20th worst at 71.4. But we've got to factor in what we saw in the original graphic. He's throwing deep intensely. And if you watch the games, teams are playing coverage. So he's being asked to throw into coverage. He is getting blitzed. But when you actually watch the games, they're doing drops and all kinds of stuff. And he is struggling with his completion percentage, but it's all 20 plus. Okay, that's really where he's having his hardest time. Now, he's third in yards, even though he's played one less game. So this guy's got crazy amount of passing yards. He's 11th in attempts, but again, that's one less game. So you'd probably put him in the top 5 if it was all equal as far as games. He's second in most batted balls at 14. So there's a lot of mitigation, 14 more broken up passes before they even get to the receiver. Drops, middle of the road. He's not getting lots of drops, so you can't look towards that. Third intended air yards. So this is the third most aggressive pass offense in the NFL. Caught air yards, 7.3. So intention, they're intending to throw third most, and their catch air yards, I believe, is second or third. Third, something. I forgot to write down. Dang. But anyway, it's top 5. Tua is 1 at 8.0. Remember, he had a noodle arm, and he can't throw deep. But he's throwing deep now. Why? That's a different discussion here. But it's the support framework. How you create the plays. How you develop them through the course of the game, the philosophy, and the scheme. You don't need a cannon. Cannon helps if it's accurate. But if you're smart and you create something, you can get guys open through scheme. And that's what the Dolphins are doing, along with Tua not having Allen's arm, but the great anticipation. And Allen is a great quarterback. He's got a little less anticipation in Tua, but he's got a bigger arm than Tua. Each one is able to do phenomenal things when the framework is right. Tua's was terrible. Now it's great. Allen's has been degrading. Teams have been understanding, and there's little adaptation. That's the point I want to get to. So let's do some more looking into this. Okay, so Allen right now, he's got 20 touchdowns, 10 ints, 2,733 yards, which is like tops, 64.5% completion percentage, but I spoke about that. Okay. The actual completions of the pass is 12.4 per pass completion, which is 4th. Tua, again, is 12.9 and first. Now, Tua is top 5 in most of these categories, I think, except for under 10 or something like that, which is funny. Remember, he only liked to throw the short passes. But if you look, Allen is top 4 in every quarter category. 0 to 10, 10 to 20, 20 to 30, 30 to 40, 40 to 50. And 2 is like top 5 in, I think it's 10 plus. So both these guys are throwing like madmen. Both these guys are completing massive amount of footballs and yards. Allen has the lower completion percentage. He's got more picks, and you'll see some more stuff, and I'm going to get into that. Now, the aggressive window throw, NFL puts this out. If you look to his 2020 and 2021 season, Tua was top 3 in tight window throws. It's like less than a yard that you throw the football because you got to throw into tight windows because he didn't have space. He wasn't getting a framework that was good for him. And he had to force the ball in there. Now, instead of top 3, he's the 7th least aggressive quarterback in the NFL. And you want to say, oh, you saw Mahomes is lower than him. It's called Andy Reid understanding and creating easy throws. Now, Allen, he's 11th. He's 11th least aggressive. So he's kind of outside that category, throwing with more volume than Tua, and we'll get to that. Now, air yards before the ball's being thrown, when the ball's being thrown and caught, or actually the air yards of the quarterback before it gets to the receiver, Tua's got 6.1, and he's tops, and then Allen is 5.0, which is about 4th or 5th. So in actuality, Tua's throwing deeper. Is it because his arm is better? In some ways, the anticipation, but surely not the velocity. So there, McDaniel is able to get Tua to get deeper, a lot deeper than he has been in the last 2 years, and tops in the NFL in many of these categories. How? This is the key that I want to tie into to why Allen's struggling and to the main thesis of what I said when I first started covering you guys and Allen 2 years ago. Now, both 2.4 seconds before pressure. Sacks, though, 18 for Allen, 8 for Tua. And we'll understand this a little bit different as we tie it into the run game. All right, now we know my Dolphins. We're just like you guys. We want to throw the football all day long. McDaniel came in, threw the football a lot. We didn't see a lot of success in the passing game for the first 3 weeks. A little bit in the fourth, but obviously Tua got knocked out, and then it was ugly. But things are kind of changing a little bit. We've been moving stronger to a run game, and it's been getting better for us. And if you look at it, it's amazing. Miami has one more game, but they've got 13 more rushes. So it's 235 for Miami to 222 for the Bills. But Allen's got 68 of those rushes. When you take 222, you minus 68, you get 154, which is 37 carries less than the 32nd team in the NFL with the least amount of rushes in the NFL. Your team's got 37 less when you take out Allen. Allen is the difference in your run game, and it's still not that much. It's still behind the Dolphins. So you could say maybe you guys would have 20 rushes. So you're about to parallel with the Dolphins, who only started running a couple of weeks ago. This is not conducive for Allen to face defensive secondaries coming forward, creeping up. You cannot throw. I've shown in many of my podcasts before for the Bills, and I showed last year with the Dolphins, when the linebackers don't believe in your play action and they don't even bite, or they come out and nickel all day. It's so hard to throw in the NFL, much less when you've got linebackers that don't believe in your play action. They're just dropping, and they're coming out in nickels. You cannot just come out and say, I'm doing it because I'm so awesome. There's got to be a chess match. And the chess match is not going well for the Bills. And why Allen's got to make better decisions, his framework is not conducive for him to have real success. So, I'm going to get into the Browns team. Given all the things that I've said, you've got a Browns team coming in. My Dolphins, I was concerned with this game, but they adapted. And I'm not saying because I'm a homer. I'm always on my Dolphins when they do something wrong. They did something brilliant. They ran outside zone all the time. They brought in an offensive lineman who's better at inside zone, and then they went to like a 60-40, 65-35 ratio of outside and did tons of inside zone. And they ran a ton, and they took Garrett and Clowney out of the game, and they ran them out the field because their interior on the Browns is terrible. The interior of the Browns has Togai, Elliott, and Byron, the 120th worst defensive tackle in the league, the 92nd worst defensive tackle in the league, and the 114th worst defensive tackle in the league, compared to Clowney, who's about 35th best edge player, and Garrett, who's number 1. They attacked the weakness. They altered their normal game plan, threw the Browns for a loop, and pounded them inside to the tune of almost 200 yards. This is the direction the Bills must go. Not saying run heavy. Dolphins weren't run heavy. They were pass balanced, with maybe a little slight towards the run because it was becoming so successful. Now, Browns, 21st against the run. That's who they are. They're the 21st worst defense against the run. They have the 5th worst yards per carry at 4.8. They've given up the 3rd most rushing touchdowns at 15. Conversely, their pass defense, 15th best pass defense, 6th least pass TDs. So they're in the middle of the road. So if you're trying to score on them, they have the 3rd worst run defense for TDs, or they have the middle of the road 16th best pass defense. What do you attack? They have the 7th highest hurry percentage because of Clowney, Garrett and Clowney. They don't have a lot of sacks, but they get in there and they create pressure because these guys are so good on the edges. Think about Garrett going against Dawkins in pass protect all day, and Clowney going against Quisenberry in pass protect all day. They also have excellent cover linebackers. Excellent. And the young kid, I can't remember his name. He's the linebacker. He was a safety linebacker. He was out against the Dolphins. He's coming back this week. That's going to be very tough to deal with. Completion percentage, 13th least completion percentage at 64%. And Allen's struggling to get his percentage high, and you're going against a pass defense that they're not the greatest, but they limit you and they can pressure you and they can kind of make things a little awkward for your passing game because they play a lot of man. They got a lot of quick guys and you know, you're going to have to make some quick decisions, and they do limit you. So their pass defense, allowing quarterback completion percentage, is one better than the Bills, and the Bills have an excellent defense. So do you run the Swiss cheese center of this run defense, or do you pass into its strength? This is the question. And whatever happens, whatever Allen does, from a strategic standpoint, you have to ask yourself, what should a competent and wise staff do? Even if the success is there, the philosophical concept of attacking the weakness it's an eternal understanding in combat and war and strategy. But you have to actually attack it. Or are they just going to go Allen, 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 and pass? So that's the whole summation of it, guys. Understand, you have 394 yards with Singletary. He's the 35th least amount of yards for a runner. He's got 92 attempts. Allen has 476 yards. He's the 45th highest rusher in the NFL, and he's got 68 attempts. I've said it before, Allen has to own up to certain things. But when you ask a guy to save you all the time, it creates the wrong mindset. It creates, it's all me. I got to throw. I got to make it happen. And this is why he punishes his body on all these runs, and he had to be told to slide, because you're telling him week in and week out, it's you or bust. And clearly, if you see a quarterback making bad decisions and you keep pouring more and more and more on him, despite the framework of your opponent and the situation demanding you at least create some run balance, the first thing you have to do before you get to Allen, because you got to get to Allen at some point, start at the top. Good luck, guys. This is a big, big game for you. This is huge. Obviously, as a Dolphins fan, I want you to lose because I know how tough it is to go play you up there, and I want my team to win the AFC East. But from an evaluator, and you guys being such good people to me, and a long sufferer just like my Dolphins, we both had to suffer, along with the Jets, with the Patriots, so there's a bond there of suffering. Best of luck this week. It's a critical game. It's high adversity. But start with your coaches. Curtis saying thanks for staying to the end. Please like, comment, and subscribe. I appreciate everything you guys do. Good luck. Fin fans, we have 2 big games to watch this week. Enjoy, everybody. Be well. And have a great Thanksgiving. Start building your own online sportsbook today by getting signed up with AceBread.com service that'll allow you to book action on sports from all around the world.